Welcome back to Snakes in the Grass, everyone. You might hear in my voice, but I'm kind of sick right now. But yeah, apologies for missing last week's Snakes in the Grass, but I missed it on Saturday and I missed it on Sunday. And then when it got to Monday, I had something I had to get done by Thursday in real life, so I couldn't focus on making it. So I had to miss last week. Let's get right into this video. Apologies for missing last week's. Since it was meant to be my end of year, here's the video, because I already recorded it, but I just couldn't edit it up. So let me just quickly set some ground rules for my anticipated games list. I want to say there will be 10 games that are, as of recording, confirmed 2024 games, meaning they have to explicitly be stated to be releasing in 2024 as a window, or they might have a specific date. It has to be said that they are 2024 games. Obviously delays happen, but of the 10 games, I'm not going to speculate on what could come in 2024. First on the list, and number 10, is Stalker II. Now this might fall into the category of possibly missing its date or being delayed, but it has been confirmed that the game, if everything goes well, is releasing Q1 of 2024. Stalker as a franchise is not one I'm too familiar with personally, outside of the basic understanding that it takes place in, Chernobyl. There's mutated monsters and creatures and different factions and all that. One of my friends, however, was a huge fan of the first 3 games, and I hope this game can get me into the franchise as well. By the way, I do have the first 3 games as well on Steam. If you guys would like me to review them, let me know in the comments, but it'll probably take a while. Moving on to number 9, Ark 2. Now this might seem like a strange one, but I can explain. One of my favorite games to play, especially with friends, even if it's buggy, was Ark Survival Evolved. Sometimes it was a broken mess, but the funniest things and the best inside jokes have come about with just me and my friends chilling in Ark. So when Ark 2 was announced, I was eager to hear more. We have heard from the support studio, Snail Games, I believe, that the game is on track for a late 2024 release date. Now what worries me is we haven't seen full proper gameplay of it yet, but from what is rumoured, we can expect third-person perspective and some sort of Souls-like combat, if I understand correctly. Here's hoping that there is also some big multiplayer component like Ark Survival Evolved, but in general, it's just a fun pick that I hope lands later in this year. Number 8, Star Wars Outlaws. Being produced by Ubisoft's Massive Entertainment, set in an interesting time in the general Star Wars timeline. Usually either get games that happen in the long gap between episode 3 and episode 4, or we get games that take a completely different approach like KOTOR, for example, or we just get some non-canon fanfiction type stuff as well. As far as Star Wars Outlaws, the game is taking place between The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. The lack of Sith and Jedi in this game does intrigue me. We usually get some sort of culmination or hero or villain story leading to an eventual battle between, a Sith and a Jedi or something like that. While I love those types of elements in Star Wars stories, like the Force, the dark side, all this kind of stuff, I feel like this type of outlaw, heist, mercenary type game is something that hasn't been explored enough in the Star Wars games. I am also a huge fan of Star Wars games in general. I'm a bit wary about this game because, it is a Ubisoft game. I don't want any map marker crap and, meaningless bloat. So if they can cut that stuff out and keep the zones meaningful, I'm in. Now moving on to number 7, Persona 3 Reload. Now, bearing in mind I've never really played the original Persona 3, particularly because this remake was coming out, and I got into Persona 5 Royal when it came over to Game Pass, and I love the game specifically for its turn-based combat and great systems. I haven't gotten too deep into Persona 5. I haven't really got too deep into the game, however, yet, so I do plan to restart that next year and do a full playthrough and me reviewing that game at some point. Before I do, however, Persona 3 Reload will come out before, and from what it seems like, it looks very similar to Persona 5 over the original Persona 3 or Persona 3 Portable, which is currently on Game Pass. So I've decided to wait and play Reload when it releases, and it'll be the first Persona game that I review and finish unless I have time to play Persona 4 Golden, which I probably won't. Number 6 is Rise of the Ronin. Not a game I've been paying too much attention to, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This game being developed by Team Ninja, who brought us Wukong earlier this year, seems pretty decent on the gameplay side. It drops in the first quarter of next year as well. Probably won't pick it up day one because another game comes out the exact same day, and that game is also on this list. Spoiler alert. But anyway, I have to admit, I love anything, you know, with katanas, Ronin, you know, samurai, ninja type feel, like that kind of Japanese style always intrigues me, so I'm interested in checking it out later in 2024. Number 5, Hellblade 2. Now, Hellblade 2 is an interesting one. If you asked me last month where would I put Hellblade 2 in terms of how anticipated I was for it, it probably would have been around number 8 or number 9, to be honest, because I wasn't really into the first one, and I thought it was just going to be more of the same, looking shinier, looking a bit better. And I was also skeptical for some reason. They just kept not showing combat of the game, where in my opinion of the first game, the combat had some great potential, but it didn't hit the mark. Hellblade 2, as of that Game Awards trailer though, that's something that I'm excited for now, is on my radar. Just the beauty of how the game looked surprised me. Don't get me wrong, I knew the game was going to look good, but that might be the best looking graphics I've seen in the game, along with the combat looking insane. And number 4, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now when it came to Final Fantasy VII Remake, I have to admit I enjoyed it initially, but it got really stale, especially with that side content that I really just couldn't enjoy at all, to be honest. But with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, from what I'm hearing, they took a look at the side content from different games like The Witcher 3 and took inspiration from them, so that should be much better. They also look to change the story with this game, as Remake implied at the ending. All in all, Rebirth looks great. I can't wait to check out when it releases early next year. Number 3, Dragon's Dogma 2. As I was saying with the release of Rise of Ronin, this game comes out the exact same day, which is kinda crazy. But anyways, I'm very interested in Dragon's Dogma 2, and truthfully, I'll probably try and get that done before the sequel comes out, no matter if you need to complete the sequel to get into this game or not. Of course, you can see from this list I'm a huge RPG fan, and something about Dragon's Dogma as a franchise just intrigued me with how it treated like emergent gameplay and things that just can happen in the game, along with the combat and its aesthetic. I can't wait to get into that as well early next year. Avowed is my number 2, the next big game from Obsidian Entertainment set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. Avowed is set to be released sometime in 2024. It's said to be an Elder Scrolls-like game with first-person combat, lots of magic and abilities, no set classes that constrain you to a certain playstyle. There's said to be a lot of companions that really affect your gameplay and story, and that is something that's probably going to be one of the determining factors that, you know, change between each playthrough and really get you to replay the game. The game isn't going to be open world apparently. It's going to be more like a list of larger interconnected zones, but all in all, it is one of my most anticipated games of the next year. So moving on to number 1, Black Myth Wukong, my most anticipated game in 2024. A game that has been in development for a while now, and whose development I've followed for a bit. It's said to be a Souls-like action-adventure type RPG set in the 16th century, very much inspired by Chinese folklore. Not only is this game look stunning and it might be a decent or like good Souls-like game, it's also set in a culture and folklore that I'm not really familiar with at all. You'll see this in my upcoming reviews, but one thing that I really like specifically is getting to know the different stories and perspectives from different creators around the world, not just, you know, the Western European high fantasy, you know, medieval type stuff, or, you know, North American perspectives. I like to see studios from these actual places tell a story that can really resonate with them and their cultures. That's the end of this video. Sorry this video came out late. Hopefully I can actually get 3 reviews done in this month. But yeah, to make up for me missing Cocoon this month. But yeah, they're all written up already, so don't worry about it. I just need to edit and record and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye.